Hello everybody, this is Mr. Hartzler again. I'm going to show you today how to do a couple of things. One would be to make edits while I'm in an assembly. Now, this is the train body with the smokestack, and I have the hitch peg and hitch magnet in the back. I'm going to make some edits. I told you in a couple of videos before that I need to round or fillet all of my edges, and I need to put the axle holes on the other side of the train body. I thought might as well show you this in an assembly. It's a little bit different than the other ones, but there's really only one major thing you have to start with. If I'm in an assembly off to the left, you'll notice that you have all of your parts listed. In that parts list, you'll see the train body. That's the first piece, and all the pieces are listed here. Double click on train body. That allows me to look at just the train body. If you notice right here, the smokestack is a little bit kind of hashed out or faded out a little bit. Same thing with the peg on the back. It's almost see-through. The reason is I am only technically working on the train body right now. Everything else is left alone. And my bar up at the top, the little browser and everything up here, is all the same as if I'm just working on the train part. If I just open that part like a normal thing. So now let's go through and let's fillet all of the edges. We're doing it to 0.1. And all I'm going to do is click on all of my seams, all of my edges, everywhere. Making sure I get all of them, even these curved pieces here. I need to get these inner pieces, this outer one, that back there. Just going through and clicking all of those edges. It says to do everything except drilled holes. Keep in mind, this one back here is not a drilled hole. Other edge, the front, this top edge in the back. It's best if you can get everything on one pass, and then you don't have a whole bunch of pieces you have to edit around later. This in the top, that one would be a drilled hole. Same with my axle pegs. It looks like we have everything. And how I'm rotating the train body around right now, I'm pushing or holding down on the shift button and pushing on the scroll wheel on my mouse as if it were a button. I'm going to hit OK. Alright, those are all of my edges. Again, it looks a little bit different in here than it does in the part view mode. The color is just a little bit off. And if I look square at the front, you'll notice that these bottom holes, this one and this one, look like the fillet is kind of cutting it out a little bit. It's supposed to be that way. I know on the pictures of the drawings it doesn't look like that, but it is like that. You built it correctly. That's just how it is. That's fine. Alright, so that's doing those edits. I need to put these axle holes on the other side. This is in a previous video, but just in case you want to see it happen again, here we go. So I'm still editing that train, starting a sketch on this side. And I need to do holes. That's in 3D model. Actually, I first have to go and put those little spots on like last time, right? So I need to put my sketch mode. I need to put a dot here. And I'm actually able to go and find, when I hover over it, it sees that hole on the other side. And I'm going to put my point right on the center of it. Same thing on the other side. Oh, there's my hole. I'm going to zoom in. That's my center. So I put my points on those two spots. You can kind of see now they're yellow. Now I'm going to go to 3D model and hit hole. It finds those spots. And let's make sure we check all of the depths and everything. Our depth is 0.875. Our width is a quarter. We need to change it to a threaded hole, or sorry, a tapped hole. Also sometimes called threaded, is a 1/4 inch, so my 1/4-20 UNCs, that's the type of threads. That's good. Everything looks good there, so we're going to hit OK. And now we have our holes in there on both sides. And those were all the edits I had to make to my train. I also don't think I showed you about that hole in the back before. A couple of my students were yelling at me about that. But that's not a hard hole to make. The directions are on the plans. When I want to get out of this sketch mode, if I'm done editing the train body and want to just go see the assembly or start adding more pieces, I double click on train assembly.iam. Everything goes back to the way it should look. and my top browser or my top ribbons now look like I want to place views or create things right here. So now that I brought up create, I do want to just note here I can make parts right in an assembly. So a lot of my students tend to have issues. They'll start with something in a part, or they'll start, let's say in this case, a train body as one part, and instead of making a separate part as a smokestack, they try and build it off of the current train. When you do that, it's all one solid piece. You want to build them as separate things. If you want to do it all together, so you can kind of base it off of sketches and things that are already on the screen, you would want to do it in an assembly file. So keep that in mind. You can start from scratch and build all, as many pieces as you have in an assembly and assemble them as you go, or you can build all of them as separate pieces and bring them into an assembly. Inventor doesn't mind either way. Some argue it's a little more complicated when you're creating new parts in here, mostly because you're working around the stuff that's already there. Alright, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. If you're one of my students, you can shoot me an email. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. My Twitter is Mr. Hartzler Math. My Instagram is just Mr. Hartzler. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you learned something.